Here we go, our Rouge. Oh. Jesus, guys, I can't even tell you how orgasmic that corner is. I'm telling you. Peter. Oh, guys and girls, I'm so pumped to be doing this one. This is Spa. This is Belgium Formula 1 track. Spa-Francorchamps. The god, the king of Formula 1 tracks. It is, without doubt, the greatest track in the world. Now, that's what I thought. There's a lot of drivers that would agree with me. Formula 1 drivers, guys who were in the lower levels. Some guys would prefer other tracks. Well, that's cool. But a lot of drivers feel the same way because this isn't an emotional one for me. I actually won here in Formula 4 back in the day, so I've got good circuit knowledge, which is great. I know the most important corners, and I'm going to break it down for you here on the episode today. Spa-Francorchamps. You're going to probably laugh, but it's like you're meeting God. And I'm not joking you. I can't. Actually, I'm going to get emotional talking about it. Jesus Christ. It is insanity how at peace you are around this track. It's like you go into a completely different world. You almost black out. And I'm genuinely not joking with you here. I don't know if every other driver felt the exact same way, but for me, my God, Spa-Francorchamps is just one hell of a ride. It's an experience. That's what it is. It's not a track. It's a fucking experience. It genuinely is. And I can't wait to go on board. We're going to go on board now and do an onboard lap, excuse me. And we're going to watch a pole lap from a few years ago. And we're going to go through how the corners behave. We're going to go through the track, what the most important corner is on the track. Because a lot of people will think it's one type of corner. But I would go the other way. And it worked for me when I won there as well before. So I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to Spa. I've got good experience around that place. Okay, so guys, before we get into Spa, a lot to talk about today, by the way. A lot to talk about. We're going to get through quite a bit now. And, well, we saw Hungary last weekend, huh? Well, what a dominant performance by Red Bull. I mean, Verstappen's just streaks ahead of everybody else. Red Bull is just kicking ass. And didn't they have 7 wins in a row? I think that's what it is. We'll double check that now in a few minutes, but 7 wins in a row. Verstappen again has another record under his belt, and Red Bull. They've done amazing things. I mean, Christian Horner was even getting emotional there yesterday, I think. You know, just these small little landmarks that you get to just summarizes really where you go, you know? It's pure dominance. I mean, he what did he win the race by? He won by 33 seconds, lads. Come here. 33 fucking seconds? That's huge. That's almost half a lap ahead of the guy in second, by the way. You know, not the guy in last, of the guy in second, which is it's insane. It really is. The lap time, 1 minute 16s, I think they were doing yesterday. So it's not exactly halfway, but it's close enough, especially to the guy in second position. Lando Norris, McLaren Mercedes, a good result for them. They've definitely had some major progression here, lads. Like, come here, their upgrade here for Silverstone. I mean, I was going on about Mercedes at the start of the year, and if you remember, I was saying in a few of my other episodes, I was saying, like, for Mercedes to get back to the top of the lead here and start winning races, they would have had to come with the mother of all upgrades to end upgrades, because again, the Red Bull is so dominant that a small little upgrade wouldn't have done the job. It just wouldn't have done the job. And it didn't. You know, it didn't. They're still struggling, Mercedes. They're not quick. Their overall balance isn't great. They're good at slow speed tracks to mid speed, but they're struggling. So, you know, they've got to really up their game, get one hell of an upgrade. But McLaren made the upgrade to almost end all upgrades. I mean, what an absolute leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. And I was a bit concerned because I'm a McLaren fan. I used to love Ron Dennis. He was unbelievable for McLaren. He was the main guy. He's the legend himself. Ron Dennis was the team owner, the CEO, principal. You had Senna, Prost, Hakkinen. I mean, just to name but a few legends of the sport that have raced for McLaren over the years. So I've always been a McLaren fan. And they're not back to winning ways, but they're getting there. They're getting there, and I'm really happy to see that McLaren are doing well again. Now, they're not doing that well. They haven't won yet, so they still have got a mountain to climb. I mean, they've come one hell of a leap and bound here in only just one fucking race. And I was concerned because I was a bit concerned that, okay, they were going well at Silverstone, which is a high-speed track, very high-speed track. But will they have the pace for slow speed tracks? And I mean, it was beautiful because you went from Silverstone high speed straight to the next round was Hungary, which is a slow to medium speed track. And I'm even being generous really when I say medium because it really is. It's a slow track, slow speed. There's one or two corners that are, you know, they're quick enough, but overall you have to say it's a slow speed track. So the thing is, would they have had the pace to match? Will the car be balanced enough? If they've got a good balance, that means it would go well at slow speed tracks. And guess what happened? They went well. So delighted to see that now. They must have slept very, very well on the Sunday night after the race. I'm sure they would have, because that definitely would have, and I can tell you now guys, knowing his teams and knowing the way that the mentality of it, the teams would have been thinking about that. Fuck guys, okay, we've done well here. Pleased to see that. Will we have the legs for the slow speed tracks? So I think going forward for McLaren, they know that when they get to places like Singapore, excuse me, and other tracks, they're going to be up there. They should, unless everybody else does a major upgrade till then and they lose pace, but it's looking good for them. It's just great to see. It really is, guys. Fucking fantastic to see. Perez finished third. Well, yeah. They gave him the car this weekend. That's what they did, guys. That's what they did. Now, hopefully Perez has got all his mistakes out of his system. He has made some mistakes, and I have been saying that, yes, he's been slowed down by the team, and he has been slowed down by the team. Make no mistake about it. Mark my words, he's been slowed down by the team. Now, he has made some mistakes as well. So, both haven't helped him. Hamilton in fourth. I mean, the guy must have been killing himself with that start there the few days ago at Hungary. He was on pole and then all of a sudden, bang. I mean, where did he end up? I think, did he even end up in fourth on the first lap as far as memory serves me now? I think he did. I mean, what a disaster. He must have been kicking himself. However, he wouldn't have had the legs for Verstappen though. He really wouldn't have. All Verstappen would have had to do is, if Hamilton did make a good start, he would have just sat right under Hamilton's wing, waited for one or two laps, waited for the DRS to be active, and take your time, have a cup of tea almost, and then overtake him at the end of the straight, job done, and he would have won it anyway. So I honestly don't think Hamilton would have been able to do much. He may have been able to fend off Norris and Perez, maybe, and he maybe could have got on the podium, but I definitely think he would have struggled to win that race, no doubt about it. Piastri in McLaren, he was obviously not very happy yesterday, but look, there's some progression here, okay? He's doing alright. He's doing okay. Obviously, I like his attitude. I don't think this guy's going to be happy until he wins. I fucking love that attitude. Get stuck in, man. Don't be settling for seconds and thirds. And at the end of the day, he's with McLaren, a race championship winning team for decades. They've been around. So hopefully, anyway, he's going to be pushing now for a couple of race wins at the end of the year. Okay, so that was Hungary. We're going to move it on. We'll just cover the top 5 today. Now, before we just completely go into it, we have the championship standings going into Spa here. So, as we see, Verstappen's on 281, Perez on 171. I mean, the guy's got a 110-point lead. He could literally sit at home for the next 4 races and still be in the lead with a 10-point lead. And that's if Perez actually won the next 4. Can anybody bring the fight to Verstappen at Spa this weekend? Can they do it? He's looking damn good here, Verstappen. He's looking damn good here. And I think that car is going to be so bloody quick around this track. It's going to be insane. Perez on 171, Alonso on 139, so he's struggling, and he's been, I think, did he finish 9th and 10th? Aston Martin yesterday. I'd have to just double check that now, but guys, they're really struggling, and you know, they were there and thereabouts at the start of the year. Can Alonso do anything at Spa? I don't think he's going to be able to. I think, like I was saying before, and his car is good. It's suited well for slow to medium speed tracks. High speed tracks, he's struggling. And Spa is a very high speed track, and it's all about, which we're going to go through the track now in a few minutes, but it's all about carrying the speed in. You've got to carry monster speed into each corner. Even when I was racing in Formula Ford and I won there, I had to carry a lot of speed going through those bends, and we're going to show you there now in 2 seconds. But I just don't think he's got the legs for this. I really don't. Aston Martin, I think they're going to struggle. So anyway, okay, let's have a look at the track, guys. I'm just going to split the screen with you now, right? I'm going to show you the track, and I'm going to go through some of them. So what we're going to do right here, we're going to split the screen, and then we're going to, let me just make sure I got the right one. Here we go. So you can see here, guys, this is the track. We're going to go through this now, discuss what corners they really need to be looking at to gain a little bit of track time here. And then we're going to go on board on a video, and we're going to watch the car go through. Okay, so you can see here, guys, that number one, this is La Source, the main number one. The first corner here. Now this is really from 8th gear down, 7th gear down to 2nd. Now I doubt anybody's going to be taking first gear through here. The way their gearing is set up, probably 2nd. It's quite important to get out of La Source very, very well, because you've got the big long straight downhill, and downhill you're gaining momentum, you're getting the speed up, and then you go through Eau Rouge, which is just the most orgasmic corner I've ever driven through. Now guys, if you're watching me on YouTube, if you see the way I am, right, like, to explain how steep Eau Rouge is, this is the only way I can explain it. And by the way, you can't see it on video or photos. It just does not do it any justice. How steep Eau Rouge is, right? If you're watching me on YouTube now, you're seeing me. Let's say that's a track flat level, right? No steep uphill, downhill. It's just flat. Eau Rouge is like that. And I'm not joking you. It's that much gradient. I'd love to try and find you something, and maybe I'm going to try and look into that more as I go here, where I can try and give you an idea of the gradient, the gradient levels, because it is an easy corner for Formula 1 drivers. The downforce, the speed, the grip levels. For Formula Ford, when I was racing there, it was quite easy too. For us, it was just a tiny little lift going in, depending on how your setup was, and then you just put the boot down, go through Eau Rouge, and then you've got this big long straight up the back and carry the speed up. So it's very, very important to just keep it nice and smooth through Eau Rouge. It's no problem for the Formula 1 drivers, believe me, guys. But it is important though to get out of La Source, get the speed up, carry the speed all the way down that straight, go through just nice and smooth through Eau Rouge, and all the way up that long straight down the back. Now, if you see here, we've got number 7 here, the corner number 7, Lecombe. Now, this is quite important too. They'll come from about 8th gear down to 4th for this. Now, again, depending on their gearing, but probably 4th. And it's really now quick on the brakes, fast, and it looks quite sharp, this corner, but it's not. It actually opens up quite a bit for you going through. So it can be a bit deceiving on camera, I think, really, on video. Even if you were driving it now, like the first time you go through it, it's like, holy shit, it looks tight enough, but the corner does open up for you quite a bit. So they'll come from 8th to 4th, they'll keep the speed up, they'll try, once they go through the right-hander here, they're going to try and keep it over a little bit to the right, and then up onto the curb onto 8, keep the car over to the left for number 9 Malmedy, because then if you get the line right through here, and you keep the momentum, keep the speed, you can probably just get on the curb in Malmedy and just put the shoe downhill into Rivage. Now Rivage, long sweeping corner, they'll probably go from, let's see, so if they're going here 4th, they'll probably get up to 6th, between 9 and 10, between Malmedy and Rivage. back down to third, I think really. That's probably the fair gear going through here. Fourth gear, if they've got good speed, if they've got good grip levels, well, maybe fourth, but probably third. And Rivage is downhill right, and it just goes on and on. Like this photo doesn't do it actually justice. It actually seems much of a longer corner when you're taking it, when you're driving it, than it looks on the camera here. Now you get out of Rivage, you go up, let's say from third up to fifth. They should be holding fifth going through turn 11. And for me, guys, when I won here years ago, and I still think it's the most important corner, turn 11. Some people go, really? You think so? Here's the thing. Turn 11 is a downhill left-hander. Now, what happens here is once you go through turn 11, if you take a good line through, if you get a good run through 11, you're going downhill once you get to the exit of the corner, and you're going downhill all the way down. You've got to carry the speed down, and then you're going into Pouhon, which is number 12. Now, you've probably seen this on onboard. This is very, very fast left-hander. They'll probably do just a little lift, okay, in 7th, I would say, depending on their gearing now, but probably 7th. And they'll carry the speed from 11 to 12 all the way up to 7th. I don't think they're going to go from 8th, because you'll kill your momentum if you had to change down gear going into Pouhon. So you got to just get up to 7th, probably hit the rev limiter. If you hit the rev limiter just before you brake, even better. And I mean just before you brake, okay? Or you're just about to hit the rev limiter. So you got to really carry the speed in here. You're going through in 7th. Little lift, very slight little lift, depending on their grip now, of course, but we'll see on the video. And just floor it once you actually start turning in. Keep it inside, keep to the apex, let it run wide out to the right, and then you come up to fan, and you're down from probably 8th to 5th. This is quite a quick part of the track, so it's a quick right in 5th gear, up onto the curb and the left-hander 14, and then you're into Stavolo 1 and 2. Now these are obviously very important corners too, because you've got the big long straight all the way up to the bus stop chicane. However, you see, some people would actually argue with me that some people would say, and I've heard this before, that La Source, turn 1 is the most important corner on the track, because you're coming out of there at a slow speed, you've got to keep the speed up, and you've got Eau Rouge all the way up the back, and you have to carry the speed up. Some might say that, and you know what? It's a fair point. Then you've got other people saying that Stavolo 1 or 2, probably 2, would be the most important part, because if you get a good run out of Stavolo 2, you keep the momentum and you carry that speed all the way up this long straight, all the way up to the bus stop. Alright? So really people would focus in on getting to a top speed, the highest speed possible at the end of those 2 straights. Now, both very fair points. But really, guys, I don't agree with it either. I think you've got to go one fucking better. And this is where when I was racing there, and this is where I actually really focused on turn 11. Because if you're anyway half decent as a racing driver, you should be carrying the speed coming out of La Source. You should be carrying the momentum through Eau Rouge and all the way up the back straight. Like, that's our job. And the same for Stavolo 1 and 2. You should be carrying the speed out of Stavolo 2 all the way up the main straight to the bus stop and getting the highest speed you can. Like, that's our fucking job. So I don't think that's the most important part. That should be basic enough, right? Turn 11 for me is the most important, because you can easily overshoot the apex a little bit going, like if you carry that little bit too much speed going into this bend, you can actually overshoot the apex. So, I mean, it really is a fine art, because it's a downhill corner as well, a left-hander. Now, if you get the apex beautifully and you carry that speed, you're carrying the speed all the way downhill into Pouhon. And number 12, it's not a big challenge for the drivers, because most of them are doing the same thing anyway. A little lift, if they're struggling with grip, little lift, and then back on the shoe again. So you've got to carry all that speed out of 11 into Pouhon, and then that translates into 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then therefore, what do you have? The big long straight down the back to the bus stop. So for me, 11 is crucial. It is key. Now, let's go on board and let's see what we're at. Now, let me just double check and make sure everything's set up here. I think we do. Yep. Okay. So we're going to go on board here now, guys. We're going to go on for one full lap. Now, let's see what they do. Now, we got Charles Leclerc. He's going to get up to 7th going into the bus stop. Now, he's down 5 gears in 2nd gear. He wants to be smooth out of here. Here we go, Eau Rouge. Oh. Jesus, guys, I can't even tell you how orgasmic that corner is. I'm telling you. That curb, get on that curb. He just overshot it. On that curb, yeah, he touched the curb. Shoe down, shoe down. That's it, here we go. Now down into 3rd. See the way it's a long, sweeping corner, guys? You see what I was on about there? Now, here we go. The most important corner. Now, actually, I'm going to go back 1 second. Did you see he actually overshot the corner a wee little bit? Now, guys, this is his pole lap, and he still overshot the corner just that little bit. And I can understand. I actually, you know, when I was practicing in Belgium, trying to get up to speed and get the car into a perfect setup, I struggled, right? Because you're trying to carry too much speed into the bend, and all of a sudden, and you get that feeling of you feel you can carry a lot of speed into the bend, and all of a sudden the corner goes, no. So let's just show you again here, right? Now let's go back. Okay. I'm going to pause it here. There you go. See, now, it's ever so slightly, but you can see here, look, he's just missed the apex a little bit. So again, it's not a huge mistake he's made, because he's still got it on pole, but he definitely lost it just a little bit there now. Now, he's going downhill now, guys, okay? Before I start, I'm going to interrupt you here. This is crucial. Get out of turn 11, get downhill, and guys, you've no idea how steep this part of the track is here. He's got to make all that momentum work for him here. Downhill into Pouhon. He has a little lift. From 8th to 5th. Now, some might actually say that it doesn't sound like he did lift. He might have just scrubbed off speed. It sounded to me he actually lifted off just ever so slightly, or what he did was he backed off just a touch and kept it at that, and then back on again. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. There we go, into Stavelo 1. Keep the speed up. On the curb, Stavelo 2. Get to the apex nice and smooth. Let the car drift out. Very nicely put, and very nicely done, should I say. See, this is a long straight, guys. Tiny little bit of a scrub. Down into 2nd for here. Oh, just missed that apex ever so slightly. He actually lost a tiny bit of time going through there. And that's his pole lap. So guys, that is the pole. It's all about getting out of turn 11. You gotta get out of turn 11 because that's the key. It really is. It truly, really is. But going through Eau Rouge, telling you lads. Unbelievable. Alright, so any more news? There's no more news really just as yet, guys. I mean, it's great that we got back-to-back races now from Hungary, 1 week later into Spa. I think it's going to be great. Okay, prediction time. Well, Jesus Christ. I'm going to keep going with the predictions this year. You know what? It's a bit of fun. I'm not even getting half of them fucking right. Jesus, but let's go with it. Let's go for it anyway. This weekend, I think Verstappen's going to take it. I would normally say Ferrari should be good around here, and normally they have been very good at the last few years. For some reason, I don't have confidence in them here, lads. Come here, like they've lost something here. I don't know what's going on. They've really lost some momentum. I don't have the confidence that they're going to be up there this weekend. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a big Ferrari fan. I really do hope I'm wrong. I think Verstappen's going to take the win again. I think he's going to stick it on pole. I don't think McLaren have the juice for him. Like at Silverstone. Silverstone is high speed. Spa's the same. Okay? You could argue with me that it's medium speed to high speed, but you're looking at medium to high speed, all right? I mean, I would categorize it as high speed, to be honest, except for the two, the bus stop chicane and La Source, number 1. But apart from that, it's high speed, and it's all about carrying the speed in. That Verstappen's car, that car is like on rails. It's unbelievable. I think he's going to be very, very dominant this weekend. Perez, will they give him the equipment this weekend? If they do, I could see him getting second. Now, maybe they'll give him a bit of equipment, maybe. But I think they'll want a bit of momentum with Verstappen going into the holiday because they've got a bit of a break, don't they? Let me just double check that now. They have a bit of a break now after Spa. I just want to double check it here now, guys. I just don't want to be wrong on this. Let's see. Not showing it now, come on. Yeah, so that's right. So this weekend is Spa, and then August 25th, 27th is Holland, Verstappen's home track. So yeah, it's going to be, I think you're going to have Verstappen taking the win. You'll have Perez. I'm going to go Perez in second. And you know what? I'll go with Norris in third. Or maybe even Piastri. Now, Norris is definitely their number 1 boy. So I think they might want to just, I suppose in one way, stick to what they have, stick to what they know. So they have Norris in number 1. So hey, don't change anything that's not broken sort of attitude. Do you know what I mean? Just keep your focus on Norris. Let's just keep Piastri in the game too, which they are. And Piastri's doing very, very, very well. So it's good to see. So I think, I'm going to go with Verstappen for the win. Perez second. Norris in third. Yeah. So guys, I'll be back on Sunday night with a lot more. We'll do a reaction and speak to you later, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Peter.
Walsh.